Well, welcome to my channel, Mispronounced Adventures. My name's Alex, and welcome to Arctic Season Round 4.
Which is going to be a...
That could have gone better. I'm in a ditch. Faint display. So to catch up on the story so far, I've just flown back into Tromsø from 5 days on Svalbard with my friend Ads, who you may have seen on the channel last year. And when I say last year, I drove 10 hours from Finland to Norway, dragged him up a mountain to go rescue his drone, then left him alone for 5 minutes. He fell in a ditch, which I had to go drag him out of. And then my van broke down when the alternator pulley failed and he abandoned me. We're good mates, actually. Ads and I are currently leaving Tromsø airport, and since he's got an Airbnb booked because he's not in his van and has got a spare room, I'm going to give him a lift and stay with him. Right, let's get out of here. Turn the camera off so I can see where we're going. We are lost in the tunnels under Tromsø. I've just driven down a roundabout which then had a 2.3 metre height gap. The GPS thinks we're above, which has got all the normal streets, so I don't know where we're going to pop out really. For my British followers, normally a tunnel for us is you go in one side, you come out the other. Tromsø, the whole network of tunnels is roundabouts, and I followed the GPS and it took me on a roundabout exit which went from a full height tunnel to a 2.3 metre tunnel, and I'm a 3 metre van. Fair to say, it got quite stressful quite quickly. I'm not used to tunnel networks.
You have to do a U-turn in a cave.
Oh, we're getting into the light. I need a GPS again. Right, we're escaping Tromsø after an entertaining trip around it. Right, all parked up for the night. Over there is it the Arctic Cathedral, Arctic Church? And Tromsø in the background. We're staying in here somewhere. Right, probably the earliest I've been up on this trip so far. We're just getting an Uber back into Tromsø because Ads and his friend had a whale watching tour booked, but since Ad's friends couldn't make it because they missed the flight, I got the space, so off on a whale watching tour today.
Whale watching. And, oh, don't go past, he's gone past, I know.
Well, in our eagerness to get here, we're half an hour early to the 20 minutes before departure time, so we're about 50 minutes early. I think we're going to go find a cafe and then come back to Polar Explorer. Polar Explorer. I think it's going to be that boat today. Hot dogs for breakfast.
Hot dogs for breakfast.
Well, not the best start. We've just been told there is a problem with, or something. For some reason, we're not on the boat we thought we are. We're now on a different boat. There's the catamaran, which is apparently bigger and faster, but that's now in an hour's time we're getting on that. It's not a crime, but it's deeply frowned upon. Stable. It's bigger, it's wider. This is our new boat. We're now on board. We didn't get a window seat, but we've got a deck to go out on, so I guess hang out on here for a bit until we get to the whales. Absolutely no idea what I'm trying to say. Probably something obvious, like it's windy. And that you should subscribe to the channel if not already.
Orca is the most common species that we can see, and is the one that I'm gonna...
Right, we've got about 2 hours before we get to our destination, but we might start seeing the whale. So I've just been asleep for half an hour. You've been just wandering around.
Milling about.
I wake up, apparently everyone's been ill. Didn't get the memo. Right, got our first little sign of orcas, and here's some of the shots. Right, we're on the move now, so we saw lots of orca and some white-tailed eagles as well, which are up high. Not sure where we're off to now. And I was pretty happy with the photos I got of the orca and of the sea eagles. After that, we explored a little bit further to see if we could actually find some whale species, but we weren't able to. Orca are a member of the dolphin family, and then we headed back to Tromsø, which was about an 8-hour round trip from leaving to getting back.
To have more fish in our plates as well.
And we are off. That was, well, so it's a different ship than we're meant to. Good fun, although I did sleep the way back. I think Ad's just filming his outro for his video behind me. And we're going to make our way back to the accommodation. But very lucky we didn't get to see any actual whales. We saw orca, or killer whales, which are dolphins, murder dolphins. But amazing to see those, because I've never seen those before. And yeah, always another time I can see some whales. But let's find our way back to the Airbnb. As it is Ad's last night on the trip, we decided to get some food in town, so we went for some pizza and shared a dessert before back to the accommodation. Right, that is Ad's off to the airport. I'm back by myself. I've got the adult responsibility of checking out the Airbnb so that he doesn't lose his wonderful Airbnb score. And then I'll be off in an hour or two. Back on my own again. We are back in the van, checked out of the accommodation. Hopefully Ads will keep his 100% of 5-star Airbnb score. And I'm going to drive towards the other side of Tromsø. Don't really have a full plan just yet. I'm going to drive over there. You can see the sun hitting things. It's quite nice looking. But we're going to drive over there. We're going to be quite careful because it's only -2 and the roads are looking a bit slippy today. Ooh, we're off. Well, at a loose end, I decided to drive to the shop, so they had a few things to do. So a trip over to Platima. Right, found what I need to finish off making my engine cover, my grille cover, and only about £7. Right, so that's a little job I need to do. I had my van serviced by Ford before I left, and they said my coolant was only rated down to -25. Well, they said it rated below -25 or whatever. So I don't trust Ford, as in what happened a couple of years ago when it froze. It's well, it looks frozen. I got my little portable refractometer, which after I get some coolant out will tell me what the coolant freezing temperature is, and then I can top it up and mix some new coolant in to get me back down to that low -40s to 50s, which is what I want. Right, put the coolant on the refractometer and now let's test it. Okay, it's not actually too bad. You can see it's about -38 C. I want to drop that a bit lower. So back into Platima, I'm going to use a website which I have, which tells you what changes the coolant level. And just for a bit of a control, just so people can see how it works, water just straight out of the tap, so this should have a freezing level of 0. There you go, freezing level of 0. Okay, well, I couldn't find the website I usually use, but I did find that ChatGPT knows the same maths. So being -38, currently, that means I've got a 50-50 mix of coolant, which is what I would expect to have, which is about -37, -38. I wanted to up that because I usually up it so it's about mid-40s whilst I'm away, because I do end up in -38 and potentially colder. Now I'm currently down about a litres worth of coolant in my reservoir, so I'm going to put a litre of pure glycol back in, and ChatGPT worked out all the maths for me, which will be giving me about a litre in, makes it about 45% glycol versus water, which ups it to about -45 freezing temperature, which is exactly what I want. So back into Baltima, buy a litre of pure glycol and pour it back in. I don't have to take any coolant out because my reservoir is quite low because I've been driving up and I dropped coolant from a leak I know about but I can't get to fix. But I'm going to go pop in and get some more coolant. In Baltima, I've actually found an even cheaper one in grey, which I might use instead, and use the other one for working under the van. There we go. Right. Turn the engine on, drive around for a bit, and that will mix reasonably nicely. Something I want to bring up because it gets mentioned in the comments occasionally is why don't you just use pure coolant? There's a few reasons you do that. Pure coolant or pure glycol is bad at being a coolant. The water is the good part at being the coolant, but water's not very good at not boiling at 100 degrees and not freezing at 0 degrees and corroding things. Coolant, or adding glycol to make your coolant mix, glycol acts as a corrosion prohibitor. It also increases the boiling temperature of water, and it also decreases the freezing temperature, which is all valuable assets, but actually the thermal transfer value of going to glycol or going to a coolant is actually lower than going pure water. But pure glycol, on the other hand, would have a very low freezing temperature, but it wouldn't actually be very good at cooling your engine down because its thermal transfer properties aren't very high, or its thermal capacity isn't very high. Right. I've come to Best Drive because I've made a decision about tyres. Last 3 winters, no issues with traction. It's been nice and cold all winter, so my BF Goodrich KO2s have been amazing in snow and amazing on the compact snowy roads. And I've always left the Arctic before spring arrives, and also the reason I don't come up too early is so there isn't lots of ice on the road. But at the minute, it's been very icy a lot of the time, and I don't think that's going to be stopping anytime soon. So I've decided I'm going to get these tyres on here studded for the next few weeks, just because it doesn't take anything away. I mean, I've got to remove the end, but hopefully it's not going to be too expensive. It should make my driving a little bit safer for me and other people, because I don't want a repeat of last week where I ended up in a ditch. That could have gone better. I'm in a ditch. But I decided I'm going to go get them studded, and also for a video point of view, something different to do. People who come up here, and if they do struggle, there is options to get them studded, so let's go try those out. I could do with my own studs on my feet. Ugh. Well, after a little bit of confusion of what I wanted, he went away, came back, and has said, got booked in. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, £142 or 2,000 NOK for the studs and getting them fitted, which I think is a great price. That's about the price of a tank of fuel. Excellent result. Right, evening plan. I'm going to go back to Tromsø camping, where I was at before I went to Svalbard, just because it's nearby and there's not that many overnight parking spots in Tromsø city. I don't really like overnight parking in cities anyway, because it's reasonably cheap and it's near where I need to be here tomorrow for getting the tyre set at 8 AM, so it's a nice close location. That's my thoughts. Not very extreme and wild, I know, but we'll be getting back into the cold. Don't worry. Right, I'm going to turn you off so I can figure out the directions before I descend into the tunnel system beneath. Well, let's hope they've got some space. Right, we're all booked in for 2 nights. If they can get some editing done, because you guys probably want to see the videos because I've not actually released them yet. Right, let's go get the hookup cable sorted and get in the van. A couple of hours of editing followed by a beer in the campsite's bar before I'll pick this up tomorrow morning when I get back to the tyre place. Right, wish me luck. So they're currently looking if they've got enough tyre left to stud. Right, that hasn't gone as planned. Very nice staff, were going to let me film, but they weren't happy that there was enough tread left on my tyres to stud them or risk it. There's 7mm tread and they said they want at least 10mm tread left for the tyres, the ones they've got to put in. Quite a lot of tread because I think BF Goodrich KO2s only, like when they're new, they're 10 or 11mm. So it would almost have to be brand new to do it. And also I noticed whilst the people I know who've had them studded before are a sort of screw-in type of stud, so you can take it out again. Because they were going to put in on my tyres with like a bolt gun, drill out a hole and then put the stud in. So that would have been problematic getting out at the end of the winter. So I'm going to move out of their car park and figure out what to do. That's a low-flying helicopter. Right, after some debating, I've come here. I've decided the best course of action is I'm going to buy a set of winter Nordic studded tyres. I know the model I want. I think it's going to cost me around £1,000, which is quite a lot. Although I'm looking at that, the size I'm going to buy is going to be the same size as my current set, which will also work on the new van as well. And yeah, it's going to cost me about £1,000. But if I spread that over and get 3 winters worth use for them, that's more palatable. Whilst I have been fine the previous years, this year it's just mild and slippy, so I would rather not potentially hurt someone or hurt myself or damage the vehicle and just spend the money and buy a set of tyres. When I'm not using them, a lot of the Nordic places have tyre hotels, which is somewhere you can leave your tyres when they're not in use, so I don't have to carry my ones they're taking off away with me, and then I can come pick them up at the end of the season and get them swapped back, and then I can leave my studded tyres, probably not here, I'll probably leave them further south in Sweden on my route up, so I can get them swapped every winter when I come up and then swap back to my all-terrains when I leave. I think that's a good course of action, if I'm honest. But I'm after a specific model and a specific size, so I actually need to find somewhere which has them or can order them in. Sorted. This is what I'm going for. This brand has come recommended multiple times, and we're going for the LT3, which, looking at the online specs for it, seems to be a good sort of deep snow off-roady tyre, reinforced sidewalls with studs, and comes in my weight class. Get it from these guys. When I came in, the guy said, "I recognise you." He recognised me off YouTube, so getting the tyres from here. Be back next week to get them fitted because they need a couple of days to get delivered, and from there I will hopefully film some content of them getting fitted. And that's going to be the end of the episode here. So hope you enjoyed what you've seen. If you're new here, consider subscribing and checking out the rest of season 4 or the previous seasons, or some of the other things I do. Other ways you can help support the channel is I work for Roma, which is the UK lithium battery company, and particularly I do their customer design consultations where I design electrical systems for campervans. That's a service you can book. I also use their batteries in this van. I'm a brand ambassador for Autotherm, for their diesel heaters and their hot water heaters, and a bunch of other links in the description below. But really, I just want to make content for you guys to enjoy. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.